Just a little bit about myself. My name is Bryce, for those who don't know me. I'm based in Centurion, the head office, and I'm currently a regional sales manager for SciTech. For SciTech SA, I joined the company in 2018 as an engineer and moved my way up to sales. Just a quick overview for those who don't know who SciTech is. SciTech is a company based under the Optron Group, which hosts a group of companies where you get Optron Geospatial, which handles all your geospatial needs. Then you've got Vantage, and then you get SciTech. And we also have Building Point under those vertices. SciTech as well is part of a group. SciTech is part of a global group of, it's part of a network of companies, and we're also quite good at that, and we're happy with that. We are going to touch on Trimble Stratus. I'm going to have Jan take over, and Jan's going to tell us more about turning aerial data into business intelligence, and he's going to be covering that section on our webinar. Jan, you can take over.
All right, thanks for that, Bryce. And just before I dive in here, can you confirm that everyone can see my screen here?
Yes, we can see it.
You can see it. All right. Well, thanks for the introduction, Bryce. Happy to go into some detail here. Today, we're going to talk about drone surveying, specifically for earth movers, how to get value from your drone surveys, how to get accurate data. And yeah, we're going to dive in a bit. What we will cover today, some benefits of drones for surveying, how to select the right drone hardware and the right type of ground control that needs to go with it if you want to produce some accurate data from your drone surveys. We're going to look at whether to choose self-processing versus outsourcing, what are the benefits, and we will give you a live platform demo of the Trimble Stratus platform, which shows how you can analyze drone data and how you can very easily collaborate on drone data if you're in the earth moving industry. Yeah, so as Bryce pointed out, today myself, Jan Wouter Kruijt from the Netherlands, and Samuel Vittico from Finland, both based in the Netherlands right now. We're with Propeller, and we're going to guide you through this. So Propeller is the company working closely with Trimble to support the Trimble Stratus product. Propeller is the company behind it. We develop the product and support anyone using the platform. So who's Propeller? Well, we've produced well over 100,000 surveys across thousands of work sites and thousands of companies, and so we know what this industry needs: accuracy, good support, and just a product that's tailored to the industry. Yeah, as I mentioned, that includes 24/7 live customer support, which is really necessary if you're going to bring drone survey technology to earth movers. We're available all year. If you're having your Christmas turkey or jerky, then you can still upload with Propeller, and we'll process drone data for you. Propeller has strategic partnerships with Trimble, and that's why we work with over 70 SciTech dealers worldwide, including SciTech South Africa. But we also work alongside DJI and Komatsu to make our mark in this industry. So who are our customers? It's basically people who dig a hole or fill a hole, right? All companies who need to run their business by the cubic meter, whatever cubic meter of material that is, be it in civil engineering, in mining, in aggregates, sand and gravel pits, or disposal sites. Landfills are quite common users of our technology as well. Basically, anyone who needs to fly drones on a regular cadence and get accurate data to be able to compare survey to survey and survey to design. And then the difference volumes is what our customers are typically after. Some customers, current users of the Trimble Stratus platform in EMEA, you see a couple well-known names here. Most of them are in Europe on this list. We also have Exaro Coal down in South Africa, ready to work with customers in your countries as well. So why fly drones? Well, as you probably know, drones are another great tool set in the a great tool in the surveyor's tool set. By no means they will like outright replace all of the other GPS and laser technology that's out there, but they're definitely a very convenient addition. And why drones? Well, it's simple. It's because you can collect surveys frequently across large areas, and you can do that faster. So think of a large, say 50-hectare site. If you're going to walk that with GPS equipment, it's going to take you the better part of a day at least to walk that, and you end up with a couple hundred points at best. All of them are accurate, but you miss everything in between. If you fly a drone over that same site, you'll be done in, well, 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes or so, and you'll be a lot faster getting the same data. All of the points that you capture will be accurate with 3 centimeters on average, and you're going to get millions of points, both in 3D, but also with the texture of the field. So you get this picture overview of the site, and it tells us 1,000 words. So the accuracy is there, and then because you do everything quicker, drones tend to cut down on the man hours required, but also on the cost of the equipment that's required to get that accuracy. And so also the cost is quite good typically for drone surveys. So we see a lot of uptake of this new technology across EMEA. Now, how to get started? I bet a lot of people in this audience are relatively new to the technology. So let's start at the beginning. First off, if you want to get ready to start using drone surveys, you got to get ready with a drone pilot who is licensed. That takes some time. The licensing is in place and is there to make you succeed, not fail. In South Africa, it's the Civil Aviation Authority that's looking after that. And our colleague at SciTech, Gustav, will go into that in a minute. Next, you will need to select hardware. So the hardware that you need to capture your data. And that's we're also going into detail there in a bit. You need a drone, but you also need good ground control. Then you want to find a way of processing that data. So you want to turn those 2D images in your ground control into accurate 3D maps. And so you need a tool to do the photogrammetry typically for you. That's just math, but how to run it and run it reliably so that it produces accurate results without you wasting a lot of time to process the data. That's the next thing that you'll want to select. And then finally, it's not just about the data, right? Having the data is one, but then you need to do something with it, and you want to do your progress tracking and your volumes measurements and your inventory and your site planning. You want to do all of those things, and you want to do it easily without having to use many different software tools. So the next question is, how will you analyze the data? And as you might have guessed, we can help with that. So here I'll hand it over to Gustav to speak a few words about how to become a licensed pilot in South Africa.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, guys, yeah, good afternoon. So from my side, I'm just going to quickly give a brief overview of the licensing that is required currently with the CAA in South Africa. So first of all, when being involved with a flight operation, or let's say rather your company wants to actually offer a service of flying drones, You need to, for starters, you need to have either an ROC license, which is a RPAS operator certificate, or be linked to another ROC a company that owns actually this specific license. So when you are now flying underneath an ROC, your drone needs to have an RLA, which is known as an RPAS letter of approval that is also registered with the CAA, and that is directly linked with the ROC company. So this now what will happen is that your drone will actually have a registration number. It will normally start with a ZT number, Zulu Tango, and then I think there's other 3 or 4 digits. And then the other important aspect is also that your pilots will have to have a remote pilot license, an RPL license. And there's 2 categories for this, which is either a fixed wing drone license or either a multi-rotor license. And this can be obtained by what we call an ATO, an approved training organization. There is several of these available. And these guys will then, it will basically comprise of 1 week of a theory session, a practical session. And once again, you will then obtain your remote pilot license from the CAA. This is something that we can also assist and guide you and your company on in terms of if you want to know more about this. This is something where we can definitely help and guide you and actually channel you to the right and also ATOs that we are currently making use of, and also ROC companies. So if you want to know more about this, please feel free to reach out to any of your sales consultants in your specific areas, and we are happy to engage and discuss this in more detail. Thank you, Jan. Over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Gustav. Yeah, so
Hello,
here I'm
Jan.
handing it.
Sorry to interrupt. Just want to know if you want to run that one question for the poll.
Yes, let's do that. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. That's actually a great
Sure.
point. At this point, we're going to run a quick poll just to show from our audience who's who. So feel free to open your chat in the Meets portal and answer the questions that Jess is kindly posting in there. I think we have 2 questions. If you would fill them out, that'd be great. And getting ready to hand over here to Samuel, a sales engineer at Propeller, my direct colleague, and he will go into some technical detail on the next slides while everyone is filling out those polls.
Perfect, Jan. Thank you so much. And a good introduction from Gustav there. So there are a bunch of different drones available for consumers and professionals alike. And it can be a bit daunting to try and figure out what is the best drone for your purposes. And that is what we can absolutely help with. And with a couple of questions that we have now on the screen, we can narrow down these hundreds of drones, only a handful that will help you get the results you are after your drone surveying program. And before getting started, we really want to focus on survey grade drones. So we are ignoring movie drones or toy drones and so on. So that already gets rid of quite a lot of drones that we don't want to use in order to collect high quality data. And the first question to ask is, what is the accuracy tolerances and what is the intended use of the data you want to produce with the drone? So do you want to use it as a background to work designs on? Do you want to track earth moving masses or track progress, or just to share the overview with your stakeholders, different parties of the project, and so on? This will give us a very good idea that what is required of the drone, what kind of technical specifications we want to have, we can recommend on the drone that would fit on your needs. The size of your site will have a huge factor in what type of drone you will have. So could it be a smaller one suitable for more smaller manageable sites, or maybe a fixed wing for larger linear project types. Well, if you pick the wrong drone for a wrong project, you will just have a hard time going through all these tasks. And here are, I'd say, the 5 most common or the most recommended survey grade drones. And I'd like to especially highlight the one on the left bottom corner, and that is the newest drone from DT, well, not the newest anymore from DTI, but that is called Mavic 3 Enterprise. And I would say that is the benchmark, the standard of survey drones as of now. It is extremely lightweight, very easy to use, high quality GNSS antenna and other technical specifications, and that drone is built for surveying and providing good quality without being even too high on the price point. It's actually one of the most best quality price point drones you can find. Rest 4 here are more advanced, bit more complex, that we would recommend on sites that have specific requirements or different actions that you need to use, or you already know that the smaller drone is not enough to go through the full site on the intended use that you have for the drone already. All of these drones have their use cases and different sites, but that's also what we are here to help with, to share our knowledge and our expertise over the years, what fits for your needs. Also worth considering, there might be some restrictions, so you might not be able to fly bigger drones or drones on certain times or areas along your site, which I think Gustav is also able to tell a bit more along the future when you are getting your drone program started. Next slide, please. And just the survey drones themselves are not quite enough in order to produce this high quality data we talk about. And in order to enhance and verify the quality, we need GCPs. GCPs, you ask, it means ground control point. And that is a way of saying we have surveyed coordinates from the ground that we know specifically that what it should be. So photogrammetry as a science, we take 2D photos, and from these 2 photos, at least 2 photos, we start figuring out distances between known points. And without anything to tie the 3D model we see from the photos to specific coordinates, we can start seeing errors and distortions even with just the survey grade drones. So using ground control, 1 or more is crucial, and always use at least 1. And depending on the amount and placement of your ground control will depend on the factors on your data collection and the style of drone and ground control you are using, that we go a bit more on the next slide. So the key thing for a ground control point is that it's distinguishable. You can see it from the photos. I would say on average a drone survey flight, the drone is flying at 100 meters, and it needs to be, the GCP needs to be so large and distinguishable that we see from the photo from 100 meters away. And these 3 examples on the left side show what it could look like. Arrow points is a product that we Propeller make that is very clear, distinguishable shape. The other 2 are spray painted, so you can also make features yourself or use natural features, given that you are actually seeing it from the photos. And just to have this shape on the ground is not enough. You need to measure the point with some method. You can use traditional base station and a rover to survey it, or a total station to get to the center point that we see on all 3 examples. The upside of using an arrow point is that it is a smart ground control point, meaning that it is surveying itself. There's a GNSS antenna inside, so once you place it on your mission area, it will act as a ground control and also a base station to make the photo, like the flight of the drone, even more accurate, giving us better starting point to give the full 3 centimeter accuracy on every single location on the 3D model. Additionally, the arrow point will automate some parts of our processing later on. And now that you are clear with hardware, you have selected your drone, your ground control, now you start flying. And the good thing about the Mavic 3 Enterprise that we see here is that it is such a key turn solution, off-the-shelf ready product, is that everyone can start using it right away. It's super simplistic, easy to use, and it will help you start your surveying missions only with a couple of taps. It will give you a couple of different options what to choose from, and it can be a bit daunting at first trying to figure out what you need to do, but no worries there. We have extensive support system in place, and we are here to educate and share our knowledge what is the best way for you to create your mission. So when you become a customer, we have extensive training, onboarding systems to make you comfortable and confident of using your drone the way that you collect the best quality data on every single flight, day in, day out. Once you have planned your flight, then we need to talk about how you want to convert these photos into 3D models. And there we have a couple different options. You can process the photos yourself, or you can outsource it like you would do with Stratus. And there are a couple of things to consider which one would suit your needs. But when you process on your own on a local machine, you need to have the expertise, the knowledge, the time, and the machine itself in order to process this. And photogrammetry is a bit of a typical task to do on your own if you don't know what you're doing. There are so many variables. Even selecting the wrong option and not doing something the right way can cause huge delays or just not ending in a good quality model. And that is on top of all the other consideration that you need to monitor it and make sure the processing is smooth and interact during it if needed. So with us, with Stratus, you're able to outsource it to us. We have a team full of experts who can take over and save you time, gray hair, maybe even troubleshooting or posts to forum. We take care of it all for you. And all you need to do is upload the photos in our system and wait a bit, and we'll release the data for you.
All right, thanks for that overview, Samuel. And it seems that all of what you just ran through is quite relevant. Looking at the poll results here, we're seeing that in the audience here, 1 in 3 people has used drones, and roughly 1 in 5 has done measurements on the data. So great to see an audience that's quite new to the technology here. Yeah, good to know that yeah, these solutions now exist, and SciTech is a great place to start the conversation. So I'll just wrap up the presentation here with a few more slides, and then I'll hand it over to Samuel, who will do a demo of the Stratus platform to show you what you can actually do with all of the data that you're going to collect. So just wrapping up, the decision to either process in-house or outsource. Initially, when starting, there's not really a wrong answer to that question. But when you start to do recurring drone surveys, customers in earth moving tend to find out that processing in-house doesn't really work for them. Mostly because it's a time sink. Companies in construction and in aggregates and in waste management and in mining, they typically don't have a lot of survey resources, and so having their surveyors, their experts spend hours on babysitting photogrammetry is actually not a great use of their time. If you count all the man hours, the total cost of ownership of processing in-house, if you process like once a month or more often, it's actually going to be more expensive for you than leaving it to Propeller and getting your results in Trimble Stratus. Sam will call out the support. He'll show the sharing possibilities in a minute, which are much wider than they are when you process in-house. And the good thing about Trimble Stratus is that it's the processing engine for your drone data and the collaboration environment to do the analysis all in one. So you don't need any extra tools. It's an all-in-one software. Right, yeah, just calling it out, some more benefits. When our team of experts, geodetic experts, process for you, we'll give you native support. Sorry about that. We'll give you native support for the Trimble site calibrations. So if you use a DC or JXL file, we can work with that. Topcon as well, by the way. And we support many of the world's published coordinate systems as well as locals. So most of the coordinate systems that you'll want to work with, we've got you covered. Our team QAs each and every survey, which is great. This is the big benefit, right? You don't have to do that yourself. It takes you hours on every survey if you're going to ensure 3 centimeters or centimeter accuracy on every survey. Yeah, and you can talk to them. They're available to you on call during business hours and in chat 24/7. The team that processes for you. What does getting started with Stratus looks like? Last slide here. Well, there is a kickoff call where a dedicated customer success engineer reaches out to you, gets you up to speed, makes sure you're all set and ready to get started with the training. You have your pilot, you have your hardware in place, and the team is ready to attend. Then in the first few weeks, that customer success engineer will schedule a handful of online trainings to make sure that you're up to speed. So it's not like days of training. It's a few. These are easy to use tools. So it's just a few sessions of half an hour each, and then you can get going. And then by the 2-month mark, you should be ready to fly regular surveys and hit a good accuracy every time, right? Basically, you want to get the hassle out of the and the uncertainty out of the drone flights. Know that you'll have accurate data every time, and then all you need to care about is getting a good return on investment from the data capture activity by actually making sense of the data. And with that, I'll hand it over to Samuel to show what you can do with the data in the Trimble Stratus platform.
Thank you so much, Jan. Let me know when my screen is visible for you. I think you should be able to see it already.
Good. Yep.
Perfect. So this is what the Stratus platform looks like once we have a project open. And I want to start saying that this is completely browser-based solution. So no need to install any software, and anyone who has access can basically access the data at any time, any device, anywhere. And that is the idea, that we are democratizing data. We are having everyone who is part of the project working on a specific task. They can come and see the exact same data as easily as possible, reducing the number of disputes and just relying on someone saying something. Everyone can see the same data, making it easier to understand and communicate what you want to do next. Additionally, we have unlimited sites and limited users as a part of the package. So meaning you can really invite anyone who is part of the project to view it here and see what you're doing. With this huge potential of inviting people to the site, we have a variety of different user access levels. So we can give different for subcontractors, different for stakeholders, project managers, and the actual workers on site or superintendents who need to see different things and interact differently with the data. And just having the ability to view a 3D model gives you such a great overview what is happening on your site right now. So we can now see this is older data set from February 28th, 2020. We can immediately come and see and check the status, what the site was on that specific moment. And just a visual overview of easing the conversation brings so much value already to your survey, right? But we can start making meaningful measurements and inspections from this data with only a couple of clicks. And we have a set of built-in tools that we have designed to be so easy, anyone from the project, however busy they might be, have the ability to make these measurements with only a couple of clicks. One common example is to inspect how much materials I have on site. And for this, we have already made a template called stockpile. And all I need to do is find the stockpile that I want to inspect, click around as accurately I want to select it. This site is in the US, so we are now seeing our units in feet and cubic yards, but this will obviously be also in metric, making your life like much more relatable once you have a project in your region. And we already see with a couple of clicks, we immediately see how much cubic volume this specific stockpile has, giving a sense how much it is, but we can get even further. We can assign specific material properties here. For example, we can say this is actually contaminated soil that was scraped off from the previous build. We know exactly it's 118 tons of material in this stockpile. And that gives an idea how many truckloads we have, how much time we would need to, to haul this away, or if this is material we can use somewhere else. And similarly, we can surround other stockpiles on the area too and visualize them with only with a couple of clicks. We can then export this as a CSV, giving us this full view as a CSV or a PDF form, so you can actually interact and bring this data to different software for more specialized planning or interaction with your data. And that is one example of a measurement or a inspection that happens only within one data set. So we are seeing the volume within this single data set. But we have the ability to compare survey over survey or survey over design. And with only a couple of clicks, we can see how the site will change once we go back in time. So this is the feature we call the timeline tool. And every single survey you fly with a drone will be stored in our platform, and you can go back all the way to the beginning, seeing what was the status of the site when you got there in the first place. So keeping track of your situation is easy with a couple of clicks. Furthermore, we can do 3D measurements against previous surveys. So in this measurement, I have done an earthwork progression where I am comparing with the previous survey. And we can see that from the January 24th to February 28th, so within a month, we have moved this many cubic yards of materials on this specific area, giving us a good idea as, for example, how much has been worked on this section, if our subcontractor is giving us the correct values, and so on. And this value under it is our comparison against our design file. So a 3D surface, seeing how much value until we hit that. And same with the graph, we are seeing we have cut and fill at first, and slowly we are reaching back to zero cut and fill, meaning we are starting to hit our design and the work can be considered done or no. While we have these volume measurements and mass measurements online, we can overlay designs on top of everything. So with a couple of clicks, you can import almost any type of design works, line work, 3D designs, anything along these lines, bring them in, and now we can start doing quality checks on this site. So we can see that, okay, definitely there's issue on plot 1A. And we can see a spot elevation check as same kind you would do with the rover against the design, how much difference or cut in this case we need to do on this lot in order to hit our design. while we see on the eastern side, we are hitting our design extremely well and no work needs to be done there. So we know the western side of this lot needs to have more work done in order to fit the design to consider it complete. Making it easier to allocate resources and finding the places where to work and then communicating it with the worksite people that you should go there. And whenever you do a measurement, you can share it directly with anyone who has access to the site only with a couple of clicks. And I will just showcase real quickly how it shows to have a 3D design brought in, and this is what the comparison level will look like. We can inspect where we are on top and below the survey from the drone, and we know that we can trust this with the technology we provide. Every point is 3 centimeters, giving us a good idea what is happening all over the site. Additionally, we have a mobile app where you can bring this full 3D model on your mobile. While you are on site, you are able to see designs, measurements, and different layers while you are walking in the site, making your site visits and in conversations on site much easier, providing more visibility to every part of the team at any time. You can take photos, upload them, they will show on the map and give context, and this needs to be worked. This is the status as of this, providing even more details between the surveys. And the more surveys you do, the more data you have, the more you start seeing, oh yeah, this flew under the radar, we didn't notice until it was still too late. Now you can go back and check what it actually was. That is the platform really in a nutshell, and I don't want to go too much into technical aspects or details, so I will pass, I think, back to Bryce.
Thank you very much, Samuel. That was very informative. Can you please, when you've got a question, if you'd like to address a question, can you please raise your hand, and then you can unmute, and then we'll go one at a time. Okay, let's start. I see Ian's got his hand up. Ian, you can go.
Can you guys just comment on how other people within the same organization access the data? So if you're on a mine, for instance, and a geotechnical engineer or something needs to look at it, is it accessed via username and password, or is it a link that you send to them, or how do different people get access to the same project?
Right, yeah, good question. So you can share email addresses. So you probably have your company email. You can take the full list and type them here. And in addition to individual emails, you can create teams. So for your example, all your geologists will have, this team will have these properties. They can upload designs, interact with the designs, or inspect the data, but not see some, like, interact with measurements, for example. So you have full control of, once you are the portal owner, of how you invite them and what they can actually act with the data. And with the mobile app, or this crew that we saw on the screen, that can give you can give access to people who don't have access to your portal. So that is more like a short-term way of sharing. But email is the way to go, and then we have SSO options as well, if that is desired, or the way your company works.
Okay, thank you.
Samuel, I see there was a question in the chat. Dirk was asking, in terms of error points, how many do you need for your construction site?
Yeah, a very good question that I didn't mention. So one error point for this post-process kinematic workflow, or PPK workflow we call, one error point provides accurate corrections for roughly 40 hectares, 35 hectares. And that is like the single ground control point you need for that area when you're using this our workflow. any additional 20 hectares, you should have one extra arrow point when just talking about the arrow points. So if you have a site of 90 hectares, you should use one for the first 40 and then any additional for 20. So that would be four arrow points for 90 hectare survey. You can also combine arrow points with these normal ground control points. And I think the recommendation is that one normal ground control point every 50 or 200 meters. I can't remember which one it is, but just to give an idea how densely they should be placed.
Yeah, just adding to that, it really matters what drone you've selected. So Samuel called out the PPK workflow that we offer. This is for RTK enabled drones, where you can work with minimal ground control. If you use a non-RTK enabled drone, then you'll end up with a lot more ground control points and a lot more time spent in the field driving around the site for executing the flight. So definitely recommend PPK workflows just to minimize the ground control and the time spent in the field there.
I've got another question here in the chat. They're asking from Colin. He's asking, what is the accuracy of your drone system at the moment for road survey purposes?
So what we mentioned with the the full Stratus workflow, so arrow point, RTK enabled drone, and the aforementioned PPK, the 3 centimeter on every single point is what we can promise. And like Jan mentioned earlier, it really depends on the hardware you select and the end quality point you want, and that is the repeatability we will confidently hit the 3 centimeter level on all surveys that you've done on the same area. Hopefully it answered the question.
Yeah, I've got Chris has his hand up. Chris, you can go.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask about the service. The application, is it the online application in the sense of that it's a virtual server that you guys run, or is it can it be an on-site server with the level of access that we can manage?
Yeah, so the tool runs on the cloud. It runs on Amazon Web Services, which is an extremely safe environment. The reason we can only run it virtually, so entirely online and not on premise, is because our team of geospatial specialists need access to every survey that we process for customers. So during the processing, everything needs to live in the cloud, live online. After we've finished the processing for you, we will publish in your portal, and you and the whole team can access all of the maps and the designs online, all of your surveys. But then if you need to take them to your own servers for documentation purposes or for anything you want to do with them offline, you can simply download, and there are quite a few handy integrations, especially if you're in the Trimble environment, for carrying the files around across different software suites. Does that answer it, Chris?
Yeah, partially. Why I'm talking about level of access on the application server is if we have any technical difficulties out of working hours, then the support that we've got on site or from our country, the site tech teams, there's always a need for us maybe to restart the server or restart the application because services has been dropped, stuff like that. So that's we like to have quite full authority on the application server for any bugs that creeps out, because we've got a lot of systems integrated with each other, and we seem to find with a lot of the online applications having difficulties, integrating all the systems together. That's why we are looking at solutions that we've got a little bit more level of access on the application server, not so much on the application itself, but rather the server itself.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Our uptime is extremely high. It's well above 99%, and so downtime with us shouldn't be a concern really. Support is crucial though, as we've called out, and so your local site tech, as well as our Netherlands-based team, will be there to jump in during business hours. So yeah, this hesitation, we can definitely we can definitely meet you where you are and take that away. I think let's have a conversation about that on another call. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Samuel, I've got another question here. There's another question that's posting. Is there other alternative options? Like if, let's say, the guy wants to process his own data and just upload it to your guys' platform, is that possible?
Yes, that is possible. So we provide this full data processing workflow that we showed in the explained more in detail in the presentation. But if you have a situation where you process point clouds, orthophotos, or elevation rasters on your local machine or different software, you can still upload them and have the same capabilities to measure, interact, and inspect the data in our system. So yeah, in short answer, yeah, it works as well.
I see another question here in the chat from Nicolene. She's asking, the drone needs to be approved. Does drone need to be approved license? This is one off, and how long is the pilot's license valid before renewal is required? Gustav, I see you started on this. Can you elaborate on that?
Thanks, Bryce. Yeah, so Nicolene, so what the RL, okay, so it's the RLA license that will need to be acquired for the drone. Once again, that RLA is linked to the ROC company, all right? So that's a once-off process. And then your remote pilot license will need to be renewed every 2 years, all right? So typically what will happen, you will get your RPL license, you will renew it from what we call an ATO, an approved training organization, after that 2 years. So renew license, and then you will be good to go for the next 2 years. Okay, thanks, Bryce.
Thanks, Gustav. Is there anyone else who'd like to add another question? We still have about 10 minutes. If you have any other questions, you could add.
It looks like there's one more question from Pro Housing. Bryce, can you see that one?
I see he says, can I download the presentation?
What do you think? I think just reach out to the to the email or phone, and we can talk further. Probably it's available, hey?
Yeah, but the recording is available to you. Will be made available. There was another question. I just saw on my phone. They're asking, what drone would you guys recommend to get started?
I can take this one. I would definitely recommend the M3E, the Mavic 3 and Enterprise, purely because it's so accessible and easy to use, especially if you are new to drones, haven't really had a drone surveying program in place yet. It's such an easy drone to start, but it will go so far in terms of quality and reliability. And it's been in the market only for a few months, 6 months maybe, but it's already proven that it works extremely well, and the feedback from the previous drones have been implemented to this one. So I would definitely say Mavic 3 Enterprise, but there are, if you are already familiar with drones, taking more like bigger or more complex can be a good option as well. I think Gustav have also some feedback on this one.
Yeah, Gustav, you can go. See you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Bryce. And just for a reminder for all the attendees on this webinar is that, you know, if you need some help on choosing the right drone platform with the correct sensors, please feel free to reach out to us as well. We can assist with hardware options as well. We are a DJI Enterprise dealer and also a Quantum Systems fixed wing UAV dealer. And also we've got the Ag Eagle fixed wing options as well. So please reach out to us. So once again, we can assist with hardware and software options. Thanks, Bryce.
Thanks, Gustav. And also, guys, just for information, you can follow us on on our social media pages. We are there as well. You can follow us as well on those. All right, and thank you to Jan and Samuel. It was highly appreciated of you guys to join us with this webinar. I hope our audience has learned a few things about drones. I know I have. I don't know much about drones, but yeah, I've learned a bit as well. And thank you guys for attending. I really appreciate it, for taking your time out of your afternoon and joining us. And yeah, we'll see you at the next one.